Volume 2, Lesson 1, C minor. So this is the key signature for C minor. First, let's start by playing all three minor scales. The natural minor, which follows the key signature without any accidentals needed. The harmonic minor with a major seventh. And the melodic minor with a major sixth and a major seventh. Make sure you really know these minor scales before moving on. Now we're going to take a look at the seventh chords in the progression. Remember, in this volume, we have a much more involved harmonic progression with many more secondary 2/5s and sub-5s. We also have two versions of the 1 minor chord. The 1 minor 7 using the natural minor, which includes the flat 7, and the 1 minor 6 with a natural 6th and a natural 7th from the melodic minor. So the first four chords are the 1 minor 7, followed by a 2 minor 7 flat 5, a 5/7, and a 1 minor 6 to establish the key. In C minor, that's going to be C minor 7 to D minor 7 flat 5, G7, and C minor 6. Then a 2/5 of 4 minor, resolving to the 4 minor 7. In C minor, that's going to be G minor 7 flat 5 to C7 to F minor 7. Next, we'll reinterpret the 4 minor 7 as the 2 of flat 3 and create a 2/5 of flat 3, which resolves to the flat 3 major 7. Remember, we're also interpolating a sub-5 of flat 3 after the 5 of flat 3. In the key of C minor, that's going to be F minor 7 to B flat 7 to E7 and finally to E flat major 7. Next, we move to the next note in the circle of fifths, which is the flat 6. But we'll see it as a sub-5 of 5 going to the 5 to finish the progression, which will finally go to the 1 minor 7 at the beginning, repeating the form. In the key of C minor, that's A flat 7 to G7, which will go back to C minor 7 when we repeat. Let's play the roots of the chords in order on your left hand a couple of times. Think of the harmonic progression while you do this. This progression contains many essential cadences in minor, all in one exercise. So now let's play all these seventh chords in root position in order. I'd recommend doing it first with both hands, playing the root on the left and the voicings on the right, and then try playing the chords just with your left hand. Let's play this progression a couple of times together. Now it's time to study the substitutions that will turn these seventh chords into rootless voicings. Remember, with all of these chords, we'll be substituting the root with a ninth, and on dominant chords, we'll also be swapping out the fifth with a 13th. And now that we're in volume 2, we'll also include a more advanced substitution where the sharp 11 also replaces the third on sub-5s. As with volume 1, we'll go over every substitution in the progression chord by chord. For the C minor 7, the root, C, is replaced by the ninth, D. The next chord, the D minor 7 flat 5, is a minor 7 flat 5 chord. And as with all minor 7 flat 5 chords in this course, we're going to keep it as is. No substitutions are needed because of the limited options available to us when it comes to minor 7 flat 5 chords. The G7 is the 5/7 of C minor, and it's usually paired with the Mixolydian flat 9 flat 13 scale. So the root G turns into the sharp 9 A sharp, which can also be seen as a B flat. And finally, the fifth is substituted by the flat 13 E flat. The next chord is a 1 minor 6, C minor 6. So we'll only be substituting the root C with the ninth D. The G minor 7 flat 5 is another minor 7 flat 5 chord. So no substitutions will occur here. Next is C7, another 5-7 that targets a minor chord. So we're going to use the sharp 9 for root and flat 13 for fifth rule. So the root C turns into the sharp 9, D sharp or E flat, and the fifth G into the flat 13th, A flat. F minor 7 is a minor chord, so the root F turns into the ninth, G. The 5-7 of flat 3, B flat 7. This is a dominant chord that targets a major chord. So we substitute the root B flat with the ninth, C, and the fifth F with the 13th, G. On the sub 5 of flat 3, E7, we'll also use the substitution for a dominant targeting a major chord. So the root E turns into the ninth, F sharp, and the fifth B turns into the 13th, C sharp. The flat 3 major 7, E flat major 7. This is a major 7th chord, so the root E flat is merely replaced by the ninth, F. That's it. The next chord is A flat 7, the sub 5 of 5. And here, we're going to use a triple substitution. And not because it's the sub 5 of 5, but because it's a sub 5. We can actually use this triple substitution on any dominant sharp 11. And every sub 5 is paired with the Lydian flat 7 scale, which contains the sharp 11. So we're going to do this. We're going to turn the root A flat into the ninth, B flat, and then the third C turns into the sharp 11, D. And finally, the fifth E flat will turn into the 13th, F. This is a really cool substitution, but keep in mind that the third of the chord is missing, which will create a more ambiguous sounding chord. The last chord is a G7, a 5-7 that targets a minor chord. This time, we're going to respect the Mixolydian flat 9, flat 13 pairing and replace the root G with the flat 9, A flat, instead of using the sharp 9. And we'll also replace the fifth D with the flat 13th, E flat, as we so often do. As in Volume 1, practice shifting from the original 7th chord to the rootless voicing until you understand these substitutions. I suggest not wasting your time playing the line as is. While that might make for an interesting exercise, the benefits are few. One exercise that you can and probably should practice is to play each voicing in all of the inversions. For example, if we take the voicing for C minor 7, we can play D minor 7 flat 5, G7 sharp 9 flat 13, C minor 6, G minor 7 flat 5, C7 sharp 9 flat 13, F minor 7, B flat 7, E7, E flat major 7, A flat 7 sharp 11, and G7 flat 9 flat 13. Okay, so down here you see the two starting points, voicing 1 and voicing 2. We'll always start playing the 1 minor 7 using one of these two inversions. The best way to remember them is to look at the bottom note. One inversion has the flat 7 at the bottom, and the other has the flat 3. And these are our guide tones. Also make sure that you're playing them in the correct octave. So let's take a look at the score. As with Volume 1, make sure you understand that there are two sets of voicings, the voicing 1 set and the voicing 2 set. But in Volume 2, we also have two more sets that include a walking bass line and a rhythmic pattern, one for each voicing set. And just so you know, the bass line and the rhythms are the same for the voicing 1 set and the voicing 2 set, allowing you to concentrate on the voicings more effectively. Also remember that you can always tap on any chord symbol to view a snapshot of that chord being played on a piano keyboard. And don't forget to use the Back to Score button to go back. Let's take a second to review the bass line really quick. The three main rules that we're using to create these bass lines are the following. 1. Remember, the notes underneath a chord symbol are always the root of that chord. 2. For chords that last an entire measure, we'll play an ascending line or a broken 1-5-8 pattern. And 3. On the measures where we have two chords, we're targeting the roots with a chromatic approach from above or below. So on C minor 7, we're going to play the first four notes in the C minor scale. C, D, E flat, and F. D minor 7 flat 5 to G7, we play the root D and approach the G chromatically from above with an A flat. And the next chord, C minor 6, also from above with a D flat. So that gives us D, A flat, G, D flat, and then finally to C. On the C minor 6, we just play an ascending scale again. So C, D, E flat, and F. Next is G minor 7 flat 5 to C to F minor 7. So we use the chromatic approaches, which gives us G, D flat, C, and F sharp, which resolves to F on the next measure. The next chord is an F minor 7 for the entire measure. And we play an ascending line, only this time we'll change the last note with a chromatic approach to avoid repeated notes. So instead of playing F, G, A flat, B flat, we're going to play F, G, A flat, A natural, which will approach the B flat on the next chord beautifully. On the B flat 7 to E7 to E flat, we use the chromatic approaches once more. That gives us B flat, F, E natural again, and then E flat. And notice how we'll switch octaves on the repeated E's to avoid repetition on the bass. The next measure is the one where we use the 1-5-8 pattern on the E flat major 7. So we'll play E flat, B flat, E flat, and then G to approach the A flat on the next measure from below. Notice that this is the only time in the song that we use the chromatic approach from below. Finally, on the A flat 7 to G, we play A flat again, and G, shifting octaves on the A flats to avoid repetition. And on the last note, we'll play another G on a different octave to go back to the C minor 7 at the beginning of the song. We could have used D flat to approach the C minor 7 chromatically from above, but we're at the end of the progression, and we wanted a nice 5-to-1 resolution on the bass. I know the walking bass is an extra challenge, so practice the bass line without the voicings at first if you need to do so. The important thing is that you always think in four voices and how they're moving to and from one another. Don't rush it, and make sure you understand how these voicings move before practicing using the included workout. Take it easy, and soon enough, you'll be able to play this progression using 4-note rootless voicings with ease. Now it's time to practice the workout. So go ahead and load the workout video and try playing along with it. Watch the first iteration of each section if you need to, and then join the piano player on the repeats.